I'm pleased to be joined in this week's show by Sister Judy Mertz of Josephine's Place. Sister, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, Mayor.
Now, Sister, you've been here before.
I have been.
And we talked about your exciting operation called Josephine's Place. Mm-hmm. And the Sisters of Charity were an early sponsor, if not the only sponsor.
Right, that's exactly it.
You were it.
That's it, yep.
Tell us a little bit about the Sisters sponsoring this, and why is this your vocation? How did this happen?
Well,
you didn't sign up for this or draw a lottery or win a ticket. You want to do this.
Right. Out of our General Assembly that we have every 4 years, where the sisters gather together, in 1999, the sisters decided that we wanted to have a space for women to come, because in our commitments, we really advocate for women and also are committed to the economically poor. And at that time, it was an action to set a place aside where women could just come. So in 2002, I was appointed. I did have to apply.
Oh, you did apply?
Oh, I applied.
It wasn't the divine intervention moved you to this?
The divine intervention, because I was in Camden for 2 happy years, and some folks said to me, well, this has been your dream, why don't you? So I actually was at the last day that I could send in a letter, I did. And I had a wonderful interview with our sisters and others who were on the committee. So I was appointed, and my official time began on September 1st, 2002. So during that year, what I did was I visited Newark, Elizabeth, Jersey City, Patterson, and Passaic, because it was up to me to suggest the city that was most in need of a place like Josephine's Place. And after visiting those cities, I made a recommendation to our leadership in our congregation that we would choose Elizabeth. And mainly because there was no place existing in Elizabeth already like this. Elizabeth has many, many, many immigrants, as we all know. The Sisters of Charity have had a long history in Elizabeth in the health, in the hospital, and in the fields of education. So for the Sisters of Charity to sponsor a space for women or a storefront for women would mean that people were acquainted with us, so that I wouldn't have to go about building up a real trust level.
Now, Sister, we spoke about the Sisters of Charity privately, but I was taught by the Sisters of Charity in high school. And I think you've known many, Sister Matilda,
right,
yes, who has passed, and Sister Julianne, who recently passed, but Sister Margaret Elaine, Sister Margaret Rose are still very much around and doing well, and they were my chemistry teacher, respectfully, and history teacher. Are you in touch with any of those sisters from St. Mary's?
I see them occasionally, but you know, Sister Margaret Elaine does some volunteer work in the hospital and with the babies. So they're both very much alive. Sister Margaret Elaine has a garden every summer and offers her tomatoes to everybody who would like some. So yes, thank God they are.
And they're still at the convent in St. Mary's?
They're still at St. Mary's Convent, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I run into them on occasion at a basketball game or a St. Mary's function, and it's always good to visit with those who taught you high school. So.
Well, the two of them plus Sister Dorothy Jose, who has been...
was a principal at St. Pat's for all those years.
Right, and still is like an assistant to the principal. Very much alive. Sister Dorothy Jose is, you know, well into her 80s, but her energy and knowing all the people of the city of Elizabeth keeps her alive.
Does she reside at St. Mary's as well?
She is at St. Mary's, yes, right.
Okay. Well, that was always a big rivalry. I'm surprised they let her in. No,
yeah, well, she's in. She's in, yes.
So Elizabeth was chosen because we didn't have a place like this, and you became involved in recommending Elizabeth. What was the next step with the board or the hierarchy of the Sisters of Charity? Did they say, okay, Sister Judy, you picked Elizabeth, now go find a spot?
That's exactly it. After a meeting with our leadership and putting before them my suggestions and why, then it was up to me to find the physical location. And at that time, there were some really significant people like Tino Rosa, who has died in the last year, put himself out and showed me different places that were good possibilities.
But Tino was a good guy. He knew the real estate in this city real well, and he was in a tragic car accident, and that's how he passed. And his family still carrying on the business, but Tino was a special force in that area.
Absolutely. And anything I wanted, you know, he'd say, okay. And if I asked a question about different areas in the city, he knew. So he was very helpful. Jessica Toplowski was very helpful in, again, introducing me to different areas and where were the areas that were most in need of being served, as well as Rod Spearman. So again, it was the hand of God, and the women that I had been meeting with in the clinics here in the city that led me to Elizabeth Avenue. And at that time, it was 638 Elizabeth Avenue. In fact, when I saw that location, I really fell in love with it. But then I found out there was somebody who was ready to put a security deposit down. So I figured, well, whatever is to be. And I got the phone call that the gentleman's credit was not recognized and it was open to us. So on October 1st, 2003, we moved into 638 Elizabeth Avenue with Josephine's Place.
And how long have you been open now? 5 years? 4 years?
We are in our 5th year. And within the last couple of months, we've moved to 622 Elizabeth Avenue. And that came about because we were serving more and more women were coming. And this
It looks awful identical. It looks like you just kind of picked up the place. I mean, for somebody who's been there, you kind of picked up the place and just, like a time warp, just kind of put it in a new place.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that was done intentionally for reasons that women who had been coming to Josephine's Place would not have this sudden change and would really feel at home. Mm-hmm. And when you say we picked up the place, I think that really was done. We did have 2 movers hired to help us move, but our women had hand carts walking down Elizabeth Avenue. And they were in there placing things around, and they'd say to me, sister, you know, where do you want this? And I'd say, you put it where you'd like it. This is your home. So not only was I involved in the moving, but we had at least 8 of our women who came 2 days. And my sense was the movers learned a lot in organization from our women.
Now, sister, the Josephine's Place, it's been there for 5 years. You've been able to move. You got bigger quarters. Why do women want to come to Josephine's Place? Is it you? You got to make it happen, right?
Well, I think they come to Josephine's Place because, number one, it's attractive and welcoming. They've heard about, you know, if you go to Josephine's Place, you're going to get some help. We don't duplicate what is going on in social service agencies because we really aren't a social service agency. However, many women will come and maybe be needing of services that we aren't about. And so we serve as a good resource, a referral center. And I think I can safely say that many of the places that I will recommend the women to go to, those agencies also send women to us. And the heart of the mission is really to empower the women. So, for example, if a woman comes to me who may need housing, okay, we can talk about what the need is, and then what I'll do is refer, give a phone number, a person's name, and then encourage the person to go to.